Our last question is a user's or an audience submitted question. What's better currently, in your opinion? Is it going to be rentals or Airbnbs? Let's start with Eric Brewer. Let's get you some early points.
I'm cool without the points. I think we all know when we get off this call who the real winner is. You can let the 13 people on here vote. That's okay. My confidence is an all-time high. It's for sure rentals. Like again, but again, for me, this is I have not participated or invested in short-term rentals or Airbnbs. I love the cash flow. I hate the pending or potential legislation. I've seen it in certain areas in Florida. People bought Airbnbs down there. They were making $5,000-$6,000 a month in cash flow. They changed some legislation. They're no longer allowed to do Airbnb. They're $500,000 into a $380,000 property. I don't like how new it is. I might not be first to do something. I like to let things unfold a little bit, be able to study it, sit back, let it unfold a little bit, and then I'll go in with a little bit more confidence. And so it's rentals for me.
Okay. And just for the record, buddy, I hooked you up with a couple extra seconds on there.
Thank you.
Chris Jefferson, let's go with you.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Airbnb at all. I don't think it's a business. I think it's a hustle. I think it's like, to me, it's a real estate get-rich-quick scheme. You got a ton of people that are flooding to it because you can utilize arbitration. You can utilize different ways to explode profits with it. But it's just not a sustainable way to look at business, in my opinion, with legislation and different things going on. I think rentals, more importantly, using rentals in the way of seller financing, wrapping mortgages, I think that's the way to go, 110%. If you want to get some very fast cash, you can do Airbnb, but I'd be very cautious with that, especially in this market, this economy. Travel, vacationing is getting ready to be down, and you've got every single day, you've got people flooding onto Airbnb.
Okay. Let's jump over to Steve.
So I would say if someone's starting right now, if they can get into an Airbnb, I think that's the best place to start. When you're first getting started, cash flow is more important, right? Return on investment is more important. I don't think that Airbnbs are going to be great long term. They require a lot more management. But right now, in the early part of your career, if you're trying to get more assets or more cash on hand, I think Airbnbs is the way to go. And even though I'm not really bullish on it, I know personally that there are multiple hedge funds getting into it. They're buying Airbnbs in Scottsdale. So I think that even though it's subject to legislation, if you buy it in states that are a little less regulatory, I mean, I'll never buy a rental in a blue state. I think Airbnbs will be okay in the red states.
All right, and then let's close it up with RJ.
Yeah, I'm gonna mirror almost everything that CJ said. I'm not a fan of Airbnbs. And then on the rental side of things, I think that the conversation here should have been more of long-term rentals or seller financing. And I'm a huge proponent of seller financing. I think that's the better way to generate consistent cash flow for you, especially early on. Like CJ said, to do wraps. That's pretty much what we did with almost our entire rental portfolio. And now it's turnkey. I don't have to do anything. I mean, the money just shows up. Whereas rentals, there's going to be constant maintenance. There's going to be tenant turnover. That's a full-time gig. And then Airbnb with the legislation, I mean, that's just a nightmare.
Okay. Any rebuttals from the panel?
Yeah, I think it's just a point of, Airbnb's like been a hot button topic. It's been a conversation for the past couple of years. We've been in a really super hot economy, but in all reality, most people, right, like the average everyday person, let's say it's somebody making $50,000 a year at a job, telling that person to go arbitrage and go sign a lease for 12 months in a city that they've never even been to, and to put a property out on Airbnb. And what happens to that person, like once that, the market goes down and those sales stop and they've still got a debt obligation on a lease, like that's not the conversation we're having. And I'm passionate about that because I don't want to see people get in unnecessary debt.
Okay. Any other thoughts from anyone?
Are people actively going to buy Airbnbs in other states? I guess for me, I'm kind of spoiled, right? I'm in Arizona. So like there are a lot of people doing Airbnbs in Arizona. It makes a lot of sense in Scottsdale.
I think everybody that lives in Wisconsin that's doing Airbnbs is buying outside of their state.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
No hot
most people are doing
vacation spots
arbitrage too, man.
in Green Bay.
All right.
It looks like Eric Brewer took this round. I'm
What?
extremely excited to say that. So we have points scored by everybody on the panel today.